This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Who could forget this video? That woman breaking into a Portland home and climbing into a child's empty bed. So far, she isn't facing charges for that crime, but coming up this morning on Sunrise, we'll explain how she landed in jail again.
Also this morning, we'll recap last night's virtual meeting between behavioral health workers and elected officials, including Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler.
And if you are waking up this morning wondering about Hurricane Ian, we have some new information. It's now a Category 4 storm, gaining strength and moving inland near Fort Myers, Florida. What you're looking at there is a live picture about an hour south of there in Naples. You can see that crashing surf. Things are really picking up this morning. This, of course, is the big weather story nationally. We'll be talking a lot about it all throughout the show.
It is a Wednesday morning here in the Sunrise Show. Again, Brenda, as you just mentioned, we will have much more on Ian. In fact, just a few minutes from now. But Rod, let's kick things off with our local forecast.
We have rain.
Yes, for a change.
Rain! Take a look at the radar right now. You can see it up and down the coast. This is there are some heavy rain pockets where you see the bright colors passing up into Clatsop County right there. This is going to be breaking up somewhat, but still making it into the Willamette Valley and up into southwest Washington in the coming hours. So right now we're dry, 59 degrees. Our Futurecast models show between 6 and 7. Most of us will start getting rain, maybe a little bit earlier than that for you folks in Salem, in fact. 65 at noon, just a few showers midday, and then heavier showers will pick up later today into this evening with temperatures, again, mostly in the 60s today. Now let's get back to our Hurricane Ian coverage.
All right, Rod, you'll be part of this as well, but let's get to the headlines regarding the storm first. The National Hurricane Center upgraded Ian to a strong Category 4 overnight with maximum sustained winds of 155 miles an hour. The path of the storm has shifted slightly south. It's now expected to make landfall near Fort Myers later this afternoon, Florida time. The satellite imagery we're going to show you here shows just how defined the eye wall of Ian is. You can see it right there on the screen. At this point, evacuation orders are in place for more than 2.5 million people. Forecasters expect a catastrophic storm surge, winds, and flooding in many parts of the state.
And if you're just waking up, this thing really did pick up speed relatively quickly.
Yeah, the Hurricane Center had predicted. So remember, it was over Cuba at this time yesterday morning, a weekend to 115 over land. Pretty quickly popped to 125. Late yesterday popped back up to 140. And then in the middle of the night just exploded to 155. So Category 5 strength starts at 157. We're talking 2 miles per hour.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's right there to the biggest, strongest hurricane category that we ever track. Here it is on the radar, the latest current imagery. And this has been a very well-defined eye on satellite imagery going way back, the days and days. There's Fort Myers. It's closing in on only about 60 miles being offshore. So there's Fort Myers. They're getting 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts right now, right around this eye. That's where the winds are blowing sustained winds at 155 with, of course, higher gusts than that. So the storm in the coming hours will be moving inland. They're already, as I mentioned, getting into the heavier rains. Winds have picked up to 50 miles per hour. There's the hurricane report from the Hurricane Center, Category 4, 155-mile-per-hour winds. Pretty much near or just north of Fort Myers is the latest track, quite a bit south from Tampa. So the track really did adjust southward over the past 24 hours. Then the heavier rains later today will be moving up into the Orlando area as the storm, of course, weakens, but still produces devastating flooding rain amounts. Here it is on Futurecast. Again, there's the eye just outside of Fort Myers at this hour, moving near to just north of that city. This is our Futurecast model. There are the heavier rains later today up into the Orlando, Tampa area. The Hurricane Center is still predicting 12 to 18-inch widespread rain amounts over the path of the storm, with isolated heavy rain bands along the central Gulf Coast of Florida as high as 2 feet for rain totals. Crazy amounts. Okay, there's what we just showed you a moment ago, the rain on the radar. And just a reminder that the driest part of our day, once rain moves in, let's say around 7 a.m. or a little bit before, the driest part of our day is probably midday. We don't expect a lot of shower activity at that time. There will be some scattered rain showers. Maybe you find one of them. Futurecast will show that to you. Here's the first wave of rain at 7 o'clock this morning up and down Interstate 5. And here's scattered shower chances, but not a lot up and down I-5 midday. There we are at 2 o'clock. And then this evening, if you're out and about, where you get increasingly unstable, there's a trailing low that comes in. that will pop all these scattered heavy downpours, which is what you're seeing. So it could be quite wet and quite rainy overnight tonight. Then we get into tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. And then during the day tomorrow, the showers just kind of wind down. We open up some breaks. Should be totally dry, I think, by Thursday evening. Here are the current numbers. 59 in Portland, 54 in Salem, 60 degrees. Look at this, 60 in John Day, but 39 in Burns. All right, our 7-day forecast numbers. Near 70 today and tomorrow. Still hoping for at least more than a quarter of an inch of rain out of all of this here in the Rose City. And then a sunny, warm weekend, 85 on Saturday and Sunday. And that is your forecast.
A little bit of everything in that 7-day. Rod, thank you. Now to an update on a story we've been following for weeks. A woman caught on camera breaking into a Northeast Portland home and crawling into a child's empty bed is back in jail this morning. This time she's accused of harassment and theft. Let's bring in Devin Haskins. And Devin, even with this new arrest, charges still haven't been filed.
Yeah, Terry Zinzer was that woman inside the empty child's bed. She was supposed to appear in court on Tuesday for her most recent arrest. But the DA has her listed as a no complaint. What that means is the district attorney has not officially charged her, but could do so at a later time. Zinzer, however, does remain in jail on a county hold. As far as what she's most recently accused of doing, around 10 o'clock Monday night, police say they were called about a woman acting erratically at Southeast 112th and Powell and harassing people for several hours. The woman, identified as Terry Zinzer, was reportedly trying to get into cars. We're also learning that she at one point walked into the Daily Planet bar topless and caused issues there. She's also accused of shoplifting at a nearby 7-Eleven. We spoke to a man who lives in the area, hangs out in the area. He says he's not at all surprised by this behavior.
I see a lot of it around here. There's a lot of it. Never used to be that way. It never used to be that way. And since the pandemic and the last couple of years, it just continues to go downhill.
All right, this video you might recall about 2 weeks ago. Zinzer is suspected of breaking into a Northeast Portland home and climbing into a child's empty bed. Zinzer threw an ottoman at the homeowner and was later arrested. The DA did not pursue charges in this case, saying what Zinzer really needed was mental health treatment. But in the past, Zinzer has declined that sort of treatment. The DA has since said he's taking a second look at that case. We'll be sure to update you when charges officially get filed in either of these cases. Through.
All right, Devin, that woman's story is another example of an ongoing issue here in Portland. Crimes involving people who desperately need mental health care. Last night, behavioral health workers had a chance to talk about the issue during a virtual meeting with Mayor Ted Wheeler and other local officials. Here's KGW's Alma McCarty with more.
What do you need from us as elected officials, both at the city level, the county level? Our state representatives are here. What are some of the major touch points for us that we need to know about?
Really thankful that we're seeing a shift at the federal, state, and local levels to not just add resources that help people experiencing a crisis of mental health or substance use, but to support them after the crisis has passed.
During the hour-and-a-half discussion, leaders heard from people involved at every level of crisis response in the Portland Metro. Speakers broadly noted a need for more shelter space and housing and a more streamlined process in accessing services like sobering and treatment centers. One solution already in the works, the new Behavioral Health Resource Center downtown. Phase 1, a day program to serve the homeless community, will open mid-November.
It is not crisis. It is not treatment. What it is a safer space for our houseless neighbors who live with mental health and substance use challenges, who often are rejected from traditional shelter or other housing environments because their behaviors don't support that group participation, shall we say.
There are many bills that are contemplated.
State Representative Rob Nose ran down a list of potential bills in the upcoming 2023 legislative session. Among them, bills to address problems at the Oregon State Hospital, to add more residential treatment facilities, and to increase funding to community behavioral health clinics.
So we are going to get to the behavioral health nirvana in the state. It may take a couple of legislative sessions, all right, but we are working on it.
Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Other local headlines this morning, a deadly shooting in Fairview. The Multnomah County Sheriff's Office says a man died around 7 o'clock last night on Lincoln Street near 6th and Halsey. Investigators are still out there this morning. The victim hasn't been identified and no arrests have been made. We will keep you updated on air and online on KGW.com as we learn more. A man is in jail accused of smashing windows at several downtown Portland businesses. Court documents say Tyler Jaramillo is homeless and has self-described mental health issues, although he does not have a criminal history. B Cleaners had 2 windows broken, Trek bicycles, and the campaign office for City Council candidate Renee Gonzalez were also damaged. And finally, take a look at this. Do you recognize this wedding dress? Officers say they found it in a stolen car recovered in downtown Lake Oswego yesterday morning near Foothills Road. Police believe the stolen car, which is there on your screen, was also involved in a number of car break-ins in the same area. Anyone with information is asked to call the non-emergency line for the Laco Police Department. And those are some of your Wednesday headlines.